Everyone, if I can have your attention for a minute. We've got a lot of people in the audience, and so just some housekeeping items, I guess, to share. So tonight is always an exciting night for us. Tonight we get to recognize a lot of our teachers and the work that they do through the Education Foundation and the support that we get from the Centerville Education Foundation. So tonight we're going to ask, you'll get called up if you're receiving a teacher grant. Tonight in our honors portion, we're going to ask you to kind of stay along this black drop right here where the speaker is going to be speaking. We'll have you stay there and actually take your picture here instead of moving you to another room. So we'll do that in the very first portion of our honors meeting tonight. And then once we're finished, you're all welcome to stay and hang out, or you're free to go. So I always like saying that's my favorite part, right? So anyhow, we'll get started here in just a few minutes.
Order the Board of Education regular meeting for Monday, February 3rd, 2026. Mrs. Sauber, could you call the roll, please?
Kathy Crippen.
Here.
Mrs. Dernbaugh.
Here.
Mr. Peters.
Here.
Megan Sparks.
Here. Okay, tonight we have something new and special, and I've been wanting to do this for years. We have two students that are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And since we had our meeting at John Hole this month, our work session, we have two John Hole students. So Eliza and Victoria, can you come on up, please? Stand right here. Okay, this is my mic, so you just hold it and talk in the mic. Ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job. Way to go. Thank you, ladies. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda as presented. Can I have a motion, please?
So move.
A second. Ms. Sauber, could you call the roll, please?
Kathy Crippen.
Yes.
Mrs. Dernbaugh.
Yes.
Mr. Peters. Megan Sparks.
Yes. Okay, next item is honors.
So as I mentioned prior to the meeting, tonight is an exciting night. We get to honor our classroom teachers who receive grants from the Centerville Education Foundation. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Chelsea Stennett to come forward, and she is going to do the presentations at the podium.
Hello, I am gonna the Board of Trustees for the Centerville Education Foundation. For those that may not know, CEF's mission is to help maintain Centerville schools as the absolute best place to learn. And we run several programs each year in support of that mission. We host the annual Hall of Fame Awards each spring. And in fact, right now, we're accepting nominations, or we just finished accepting nominations on our website and are excited to announce those honorees. We also administer awards and scholarships to graduating seniors who are off to college, and information about those scholarships can be found at our website at centervilleeducation.org. Our other big program involves classroom grants, and that's why we are here this evening. Teachers at all levels submit proposals for special projects in their classrooms that go above and beyond the normal curriculum. CEF evaluates those proposals and then awards grant money to teachers so they can purchase the supplies that they need in order to turn those ideas into reality. This year, CEF board members selected 15 projects that we felt will provide enhanced learning experiences for Centerville students. Of course, these grants wouldn't be possible without the generous donations from hundreds of parents, alumni, and community members. We thank all of them for their support. And because of our donors, we are able to give $10,166 in grant money to Centerville teachers today. CEF does accept donations in any amount year-round, so if any of you would like to support our mission, please visit our website, again, at centervilleeducation.org, and click the donate button. With that, I'd like to announce this year's classroom grant recipients. We have several of them. We're so excited in attendance in the audience this evening. I know that some teachers were unable to be here tonight, but we will make sure that we continue to honor them in this accomplishment. I am going to give a brief overview of each grant. So I'm going to call y'all up, and then we are going to ask you to stay up or come back up for a picture. To stay up. So please stay up here. In between, we'll get a brief little round of applause, a well-deserved round of applause. And at the end, we'll get a quick group picture. So I'm going to start with From Curiosity to Discovery, Building Our Wonder Room from Primary Village North. April Fisher, Christina French, Aaron Elsner, Mary Ackenbauer, and Kelsey Hebler. If you are here this evening, come on up. The Wonder Room creates a hands-on, student-driven learning space where elementary students explore STEM, arts, literacy, and social-emotional learning through open-ended projects. It builds curiosity, creativity, and problem-solving skills while helping students take ownership of their learning in an engaging, imaginative environment. Congratulations, y'all. We Come in Peace, a PBS approach to nature from Primary Village South. Sarah Linda Blanding, Julia Baltzer. Come on up, y'all. This project invites kindergarten and first grade students to observe, document, and celebrate peaceful and respectful behaviors in nature as daily peace pals. By creating a shared book of real-life examples, students strengthen social-emotional learning, literacy, and mindfulness while developing respectful habits that extend beyond the classroom. Congratulations. Also from Primary Village South, Spaces to Thrive, a sensory-safe environment for every learner. Brittany Simmons and Catherine Wood. A sensory-friendly regulation space supports students' emotional well-being by teaching self-regulation, mindfulness, and coping strategies through calming tools and structured activities. The project improves classroom engagement and school climate by helping students reset, manage emotions, and return to learning ready to participate. Congratulations, Brittany and Catherine. Seeds of Learning, Driscoll's Greenhouse and Meadow Project. This is Driscoll Elementary, Tish Kemp, Paul Bizzaro, Beth Ann Ellinger, Amanda McCormick. The Driscoll Greenhouse and Meadow Project establishes an outdoor learning lab where students explore ecosystems, sustainability, and environmental stewardship through hands-on leadership and collaboration. By integrating science, literacy, and math into real-world experiences, the project builds academic understanding, responsibility, and community connections. Congratulations to Driscoll Elementary. Also from Driscoll Elementary, No Screens Required, Empowering, Challenging, and Supporting Driscoll Students, Families, and Staff. Aaron Bucher and Lauren Bizzaro. This pilot book study helps fifth graders develop healthy, thoughtful habits around screen use through guided reading and discussion of The Amazing Generation. Students gain critical thinking and digital wellness skills that empower them to make balanced, informed choices about technology. Congratulations. Exposing Chinese Learners to Grade-Level Reading Content from John Hole Elementary, Jennifer Karpinski. This project provides please feel free. Yeah, totally appropriate. This project provides native language reading materials to support Chinese-speaking third graders while they develop English proficiency. It promotes academic access, cultural awareness, and inclusion, while allowing students to grow literacy skills without falling behind in content learning. Congratulations, Jennifer. Cooking Up Communication, the Classroom Visual Cookbook. Normandy Elementary, Emily Thompson, Brooke Ross, and Julie Amandi. Cooking Up Collaboration uses cooking and role play to help skills students build communication, motor, social, and academic skills through meaningful, real-world activities. The project fosters independence, confidence, and teamwork while culminating in a shared community celebration. Congratulations to our team from Normandy Elementary. Family Math Play Library, also from Normandy Elementary, Katie Thompson. The Family Math Play Library offers screen-free math and logic games for families to check out, making learning fun, accessible, and collaborative at home. It strengthens problem-solving skills, family connections, and positive attitudes towards math through shared play. Congratulations to Katie. Classroom readiness and pre-vocational task boxes for Weller's Life Unit, Weller Elementary, Amber Kennedy. This project creates hand-on task boxes that help Life Unit students practice daily routines, independence, and pre-vocational skills in an engaging way. The activities support IEP goals while giving students structured, meaningful choices during the school day. Congratulations, Amber. And of note, Amber is a paraprofessional. I thought that was just a really great addition. I hope we see more of those in the coming year. So congratulations, Amber. Glass fusing art and science from Magzig Middle School, Mary Frances Downs. Glass fusing is introduced into the 7th grade art curriculum to provide a hands-on, standard-aligned medium that blends creativity with science. Students build technical skills, visual literacy, and confidence while experimenting, problem-solving, and taking creative risks. Congratulations, Mary Frances. Building Phenomena, Bricks to Breakthroughs, Tower Heights Middle School, Nicole Huss. Using Lego education kits, middle school students explore complex science concepts through inquiry-based, hands-on model building. The project strengthens critical thinking, collaboration, and problem-solving while helping students see themselves as scientists and engineers. Congratulations, Nicole. 7th grade voices also from Tower Heights Middle School, Rebecca Such. Students create a peer-recorded audiobook library that supports reading fluency, comprehension, and digital literacy across the school. Through recording, reflection, and peer feedback, students build literacy, communication, and executive functioning skills in a meaningful and creative way. Congratulations to Rebecca. Mapping Our Futures, Centerville High School, Georgiana Wright. This project aims to give students a hands-on interdisciplinary design experience through creating a detailed 3D printed model of the Centerville High School campus. Through this work, students apply principles of visual art, such as form, proportion, and spatial relationships, while developing technical skills in digital modeling, prototyping, and fabrication. Congratulations. In It for Life, also from Centerville High School, Brittany Lewis, Daryl Shelton, and Maggie Abram. This project expands student-run Life Unit businesses by adding a soap-making enterprise alongside an existing greeting card business. It provides real-world vocational training, independence, and purpose for students transitioning beyond graduation requirements. Congratulations to our team from Centerville High School. And last, we have Pickleball for PE, Centerville High School, Stephanie McMillan. A new pickleball unit introduces an inclusive, engaging sport that promotes fitness, teamwork, and strategic thinking across grade levels. Its adaptable, low-impact design encourages lifelong physical activity and strengthens collaboration among students and educators. Congratulations, Stephanie. Congratulations to all the teachers who received grants this year, and thank you for all the great work that you are doing in our classrooms. For more details on any of these projects, you can visit our website at centervilleeducation.org. Thank you. I think we keep grabbing her.
Start with the teacher of the year. I just want to say thanks again and congratulations to all of our teachers receiving their check. But a huge thank you to the Centerville Education Foundation. Dr. Stennett, Rajiv Goyal, appreciate your work. I know there's a lot of other members of the committee that's here tonight, so I just want to say thank you for your support of the classroom teachers and the work that they do. Next off is Mr. Tarpey, who's going to talk about the Teacher of the Year honors.
Thank you, Mr. Wesley, and good evening. Each year, the district participates in the Ohio Teacher of the Year program, which is sponsored by the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. The mission of this program is to honor, promote, and recognize excellence in teaching and the teaching profession. This year, the district nominee was selected from Tower Heights Middle School. I'm very pleased to announce that the district has selected Mr. Kevin Wisniewski for this very prestigious recognition. Kevin and Mr. Freeze, would you please come forward? Kevin is a guidance counselor at Tower Heights Middle School and has worked for the Centerville schools for 25 years. He's a proud two-time graduate of the University of Dayton, earning his bachelor's in 1994 and his master's in 1999. Prior to his time at Tower Heights, Mr. Wisniewski taught 7th grade math and PE in Oakland, California for 1 year. He also served as a graduate assistant instructor at UD from 1996 to 1999 and as a school-based therapist for the Kettering schools from 1999 to 2001. Kevin joined the Centerville team in 2001 as the counselor at Weller Elementary School. He held that position until 2012 when he became the counselor at Tower Heights Middle School. Kevin's nominator is Tower Heights principal, Mr. Clint Freeze. Mr. Freeze will be making a few comments here in just a couple of minutes. But before he makes his comments, I have a few comments as well. But before both of those things, Mr. Morgan's going to run a video clip for us that shows additional information and highlights on Mr. Wisniewski's role and career at Tower Heights. I'm Clement Curtis, Coach Bob, High School. Which is March, Michigan, and Kevin Wisniewski, Speak Counselor, quote-unquote, the Teacher of the Year. Kevin Wisniewski will share several semesters in proud child with support every year. He is a trusted advocate for students, collaborative with staff, and a special resource for families navigating academic and social and emotional challenges. Kevin approaches every interaction with empathy and intentionality. Students at the door gain value. A huge mission call that us and us lives and the people of future supports. With that system, technology, training it for maturity, behavior, activities, those who would get be. For not other care values, those who share accountability, respect, and empathy, while fostering a culture of belonging and responsibility. In IQ, keep thoughtful insights in a solution focused approach to the long-term need. Distinguishes Kevin Lowe with his political response. Thank you for this work. This influence was steady and deeply impactful. Thank you, nominated Kevin Wisniewski, a teacher movement. He was exceptionally deserving of this recognition. Thank you. Kevin Wisniewski, I was teacher of the year this year. I have been taught counseling. Tower Heights Middle School. Maybe with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. I've been doing this most of my career. I've been in the center for 25 years. I started off as the counselor at Weller Elementary and was there for 11 years. It's working with young people and different things. And essentially, the best part of it is that I get to wear so many different shirts. Working with students, special support to leadership, my leadership team, helping our integrators take on the leadership role of to everything from helping with teachers to helping students. And again, it's just also being with this great Tower Heights community and work with Centerville community as well.
Just being heard is like the best possible thing. Being here is like and like listening to him and him helping us become better leaders and helping our society and community. I think that's just the best thing. He's just a good person.
To remember to work with these young people, I really enjoy it.
Our community relations specialist, Mrs. Kenny, put those video clips together, so I'd like to thank her for that. Mr. Wisniewski is an outstanding and accomplished counselor that excels with his students, his professional peers, really in every aspect. He truly embraces the district's strategic plan and mission of empowering, challenging, and supporting, especially in the area of ensuring a safe and welcoming environment for all. Kevin approaches every student interaction with empathy, calm, and intentionality to ensure that his students feel seen, heard, and supported. According to Mr. Freeze, and I think he alluded to this earlier in his piece, what truly sets Kevin apart from others is his whole heart for his students and his commitment to their continuous growth as young adults. Kevin is simply a very caring person who genuinely respects and attends to each of his students in a very personalized and individualized manner. I asked Kevin for an interesting fact about his career for this presentation, and he told me that he started his career in education by volunteering to do a year of service in Oakland, California, and it was based out of the University of Notre Dame, where he was 6 other volunteers. He said he was the lead teacher in the group, and that they worked with teen mothers, homeless individuals, and teachers afflicted with AIDS. An interesting fact about Mr. Wisniewski is that he took up triathlon training during the pandemic, and he once participated in the Escape from Alcatraz triathlon in the San Francisco area. So that's quite an accomplishment. So, Kevin, it's a real honor this evening to recognize you. You are, as Mr. Freeze said, more than deserving of the district's Teacher of the Year recognition. And at this time, I'd like to have Mr. Freeze. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Then we'll have Mrs. Sparks make a presentation.
Give me a mic, I'll always say something. It has been such a great pleasure to have Kevin by my side as our school counselor. There's some, people from the past that I think that, I could look at, like Batman and Robin, Mario and Luigi, Han Solo and Chewbacca, Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart, and then the last one from Monsters, Inc., Sully and Wazowski. So, but again, I cannot think of an honor more deserving of a colleague and a friend, Mr. Wisniewski. Thank you.
I told Mr. Tarpey I'd only say a few words. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Tarpey for such kind words. Thank you to Mr. Freeze for such kind words and fine comparisons. I have to ask him more about that later. Again, I just really appreciate this honor. I was truly floored to be selected to represent Centerville City Schools, and I will do my very best in the Ohio Teacher of the Year competition to represent Centerville well. And again, I just am deeply honored to be selected for this recognition. So thank you all very much. Mrs. Sparks, go ahead and make the presentation. It's a wonderful Walt medallion from Open House here in Centerville. So they take good care of our Teachers of the Year. So Kevin will now enter the state level of competition. There is a state selection committee that will choose. There are 11 what are referred to as territories. So there will be 11 semifinalists, and then that committee will choose 5 finalists who will go to Columbus for a recognition program there. And then from those 5, one person, of course, will be selected as the Ohio Teacher of the Year. And I think that Mr. Wisniewski has an excellent chance of doing that. And so once again, it's my great honor to recognize Kevin. Thank you, and congratulations, and good luck at the state level. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Tarpey. Next, we have the Oak Pride Never Dies Fund.
So I'd like to introduce Mr. Loback, who is back with us tonight to talk about the Brad Bucher EP&D Memorial Fund. And so welcome back.
Great. Thank you very much. Last year we were just getting started, and then we have a couple new board members to fill them in on what we're about. The fund is a fund that was started out of the remainder of the estate of a Centerville grad from 1975, Brad Bucher, who was everything about Elks. He ran the parking lot concerts at Carver's with the fries, took the money, donated it to the school. And so as he was reaching the end of his life, he said, "Hey, Bob," to Bob Crawford, "there is about $25,000 left in my account after this journey." He said, "Take it and do something good for Centerville schools." And Bob said, "I don't know what to do with it. If I give it all to them right now, they'll just spend it." And so I suggested to him that we set up a fund within the Dayton Foundation. And if the intent is to honor Brad's memory, we would then work to grow it. And that's kind of why I'm here to talk about where we are. So we're into the third year, but quite honestly, it's only been in the last year that we started raising money. I got a big boost from the Spirit Chain this year. Thank you very much to the senior class. They were awesome. But recently we've received a couple of transformational gifts of $10,000 each to push us to say, hey, go after your goal of reaching 100,000. We had set a goal to get to 100,000. And at that point in time, the amount of the gift every year would go from 5,000 to 10,000 because we want this fund to be sustainable. So we're in the process by the end of the school year to get the fund balance to $100,000. We're just over 75,000 now, and there's a lot of momentum going. But I also want to tell you we really see opportunities for collaboration, and met Dr. Stinnett earlier tonight to talk about getting together between the Centerville Education Foundation and the EP&D fund. The EP&D fund is focused on students and student welfare. Our gifts in the past are grants that are determined by staff, not by us. Our committee says, here's $5,000 a year, use it, kind of tell us how you did it and what you did with it, and then next year we'll give you another $5. But the fund is, again, getting momentum. We're growing. We get to the 100,000. That 5,000 will go to 10,000. But there's areas of collaboration that we believe to move the needle on philanthropy targeted for Centerville students. And I'm a big believer. I've been involved with the Dayton Foundation for probably 15 years. I believe that philanthropy is about painting the picture and providing the pathways to give. People will respond. And so we do have something on the schedule that we'll be talking about, Dr. Stinnett, and that is this fall. In the past 2 years, Archers has been great about hosting a chili cook-off. Well, the chili cook-off is moving to Benham's Grove. The city is participating, and it will become the Centerville chili cook-off sponsored by Archers for the benefit of Centerville schools. And so we want to talk about possible collaboration in that area and looking at other things we could possibly do. So there's several of these on the back table if anybody wants to read any more about what we're up to or what we're about. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Agenda is public participation, but seeing that no one has signed up, we'll skip that portion and move on to board and legislative reports. The first thing is legislative report. I will be covering that for Dr. Graff tonight. House concurrent. Okay, House concurrent resolution 22. I'm sorry. I can read, I promise. House Concurrent Resolution 22 was adopted, which encouraged students in grades 1 through 12 to read the Declaration of Independence in the classroom by the end of the school year and the celebration of the 250th anniversary. House Bill 326 was passed out of the House and is headed to the Senate. This bill gives test sections decision to the schools or district. It adds the classic learning test to the already approved SAT and ACT, and Ohio Institution of Higher Education would require to access scores from all of these assessments if they required any admission. And there's a website. House Bill 500, designating JROTC as Career Tech Program, voted out of the House Committee this week. House Bill 25, Fostering School Success Act, voted out of the House Committee this week. House Bill 426, allowing nasal EpiPens to cover the law, voted out of the House this week and headed to the Senate. And Senate Bill 19, Mathematics Improvement Intervention Plans, and they have hearings in the House this week. Newly introduced legislation. I'm just going to say the bills. It's House Bill 661. It will prohibit nil agreements compensation for middle high school students. House Bill 671, which would withhold state funding from districts involved in legal action against the state. That's the one with the vouchers. House Bill 674, transportation networking companies contracts. House Bill 693, affirming Families First Act. Next we have House Bill 304, sponsored by our own Representative Young. This would expand the PE waiver to include clubs and individual activities. It includes a requirement of 2 30-minute recesses per day for students. I believe it's up to grade 8, right? Grade 8. And then right now there's no current scheduled hearings. Senate Bill 333, sponsored by Senator Blackshear, which is, of course, our senator, and he has a statewide youth council in the office of the governor. 20 students from across the state apply and then be appointed by the governor. They would serve a 2-year term, meeting at least twice a month, with virtual as an option. And they would report to the governor and the GA about issues and legislation impacting Ohio youth. I'm not sure what that is, so we're going to skip that one. Sorry, Dr. Graff. Our legislators, if you have any strong concerns or support for any of these bills, please contact our state senator, Willis Blackshear, or state representative, Tom Young, and make sure that you speak out. So very nice PowerPoint by Dr. Graff. Thank you so much, even though she's not here tonight. Next is our reports from our very own student board reps.
Good evening. My name is Titus Lee. I'm a senior. This month we were pretty busy. We started with our focus group. We used the focus group as a way to get more student feedback, and we used it particularly at the mental health summit. Our key themes were talking about the cell phone policy and what students thought, just trying to get a better gauge. We had a lot of good feedback, some concerns about emergency communication, enforcement, but a lot of good feedback in terms of academic output, focus, and communication with students. A lot of students notice that they're more talkative and they're having more positive interactions with their teachers and their classmates. So that was another good thing. And then we just use that time to clarify things that they had questions about. So that's things about music and MP3 use and 504 usage, lunchtime expectations and field trips, which we just clarified with them, so that hopefully they can tell the rest of the student body. Next, Amelia's going to talk about the roundtable.
Yes, I'm here to discuss our roundtable. So after we had our Ohio School Board Association conference, where we spoke about implementing student board reps in our own districts in accompaniment with the other districts we have at our roundtable, which is Northmont, Miamisburg, West Carrollton, and what was the fifth one? Fairmont. No, we already said Northmont. Yes. After that conference, we received multiple inquiries from other school districts who were interested in implementing student board reps of their own. So we decided moving forward that we would be active participants in helping them start that program up. So for our next couple of community roundtable meetings, we're going to work with these school districts, help give them information, and help them start implementing a program for their own school districts, which is super exciting. And we have also decided to put our efforts towards letter writing initiatives, considering some of the bills that are moving through the House. The two main ones that we are focusing on are the Youth Council, which is Senate Bill 333, and also the ban on NIL deals for high school students, which was 661, as we just saw in Dr. Graff's legislative report. Another one that we thought was specifically interesting, considering the chronic absenteeism at Centerville High School, is a bill that would implement mental health days as excused absences. So we're interested to see how these bills move in legislation and helping them out. And then I will now pass it on to discuss our community read final conversation.
Okay, we had the privilege of getting to participate in the community read of the anxious generation, and there was a mental health summit with everyone in the community.
Yeah, so we basically had like three main sections. We had first speakers or keynote speakers who talked to us about their experiences, who are specifically on the board right now. Um, and Mr. Wesney was one of them. He spoke to us about how the district is addressing the cell phone concerns and the digital media concerns. We had a psychologist come in who spoke to us about the impact she's seen amongst kids and students and what impact technology is having on them. We also had um, the Driscoll principal, um, come in and she told us about the risks of um, unmonitored unmonitored communications, especially at young ages, and the risks that it can have.
We also had the privilege of leading table discussions where we had like each of us picked a topic. And so I know me and Amelia, we spoke on body image, and I think the boys in our group spoke on, did you speak on the phone education impact? And I feel like this was a really great discussion to have because I mean, obviously we're from the anxious generation and we're the ones like currently living in it. So I just feel like having this conversation was like a great way for more adults to like understand our perspective and how it's like been affecting us, but also like what are the ways that they can support their kids and others that are our age.
Um, Lastly, we had a panel discussion where members of the community could ask us questions regarding whatever they wanted. And there was a large panel of a lot of qualified individuals. And on the panel were me and Amelia as well. We answered a few questions. And it was really interesting conversation. One of like the most one of the most profound analogies that I remember from there was I remember one of the speakers talked about how parents' boundaries are like guardrails on the highway, and how like you can like still work within it. And uh, it, I like that analogy, and I thought it's a very accurate demonstration. But yeah, that was the panel discussion, and those were the three parts.
Okay, and then lastly, I know it's a little long, so I'll try and keep this short. We had our third Montgomery County Educational Service Center meeting last January, so it didn't get on the board report, but um, it was a very helpful meeting. We talked with three main groups. We discussed with SOIDA, which is our Southwest Ohio Instructional Technology Association, about the impacts of AI and on learning. our biggest takeaway from that was that students need to make sure that they work with AI instead of letting it take over their lives, or like let them do the work for them, and that students are greater than AI. They have more potential. Um, After that, we talked with our regional STEM center about the importance of open communication and dialogue between different groups. So that included working to solve an issue that we were assigned. So we chose food insecurity, and we assumed different roles and tried to figure out how we would solve that in the Dayton area. We also discussed again cell phones, this time with, a variety of districts. We had a professor from UD come in and just ask us questions. And it was mainly just an open dialogue of the Educational Service Center trying to get our feedback on cell phones. And then also for next meeting, we looked at potential topics to discuss with our state legislators who will be coming in the next meeting. So we kind of took those notes and we're going to prepare for it. So I'll have more on that next week. All right. Thank you. And that is it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have financial for. Well, first, I just want to say Saturday was awesome. I hope that maybe next year there'll be another community read, and we could just keep building on that. So, thank you. Next, we have the financial forecast update with Mrs. Sauber.
Good evening. Tonight I'm going to talk to you just very briefly because we did cover this at our work session last week, but just talk to you a little bit about our financial forecast revision that we're required to file with the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce by the end of February. That is on your agenda tonight for approval. So I've given you kind of a red line version here of a slide that you saw back in October to just talk to you a little bit about what our assumptions were for 2026 and beyond. Because of recent property tax changes, the reappraisal, we were estimating a 15% increase. We're only allowed to now see inflationary factors in our reappraisal for the 3 years. So I've decreased that down to 10%. That does impact our revenue slightly. It's a pretty small amount on our property taxes, but that is a decrease. Also, I've updated our state estimate to our February 6th payment that we receive. We're so early in the year yet. It's hard to know exactly where we're going to end the year. As we had reported in the fall, our negotiations are settled through 2029, and we did board approve last month our classified compensation study. And so our numbers now are going to reflect that additional compensation to our classified staff that starts in 2027. So from a revenue perspective, there really isn't much change to our revenue. It remains relatively flat. You can see those percentages that we have over the years. We're now in the first full year of collecting on our 2024 tax increase that we passed in November of 2024. That's why you see from a percentage standpoint that 26 is up to 5.8%. But if you look at the future years, then very, very flat revenue. The only real increase that we see is from our inside millage on tax reappraisals. On the expense side of things, I haven't changed our department budgets at all for 2026 and beyond because again, we're really too early in the year to know really where those expenses are going to land. But our salary and benefits did increase because of the classified compensation study. And again, I mentioned that already. But what I want to focus in on is our surplus and deficit spending. We passed the levy in November of 2024, and the hope is that we add to our cash reserves. We operated a surplus for several years. We're anticipating that is going to happen. We talked to the community about a 5 to 6 year window that levy would last us, and I think that we're definitely on trend for that to happen. I'm still showing you 5 years of information. The forecast that's before you tonight is a 4-year projection. But we continue to look at things from a longer term perspective, even beyond 5 years. I'm showing you 5 years just because that's what we used to talk about with the 5-year forecast. But you can see the deficit spending will start to set in around 2029 and beyond. And again, this will get us to that 5 to 6 year window that we talked about before we have to come back for additional revenue. And that's just highlighted there. So I think it's important that we talk a little bit about the timing of this financial projection. We're missing a lot. Normally, I'm not talking to you until May. When we talk about it in May, we've received all of our property tax revenue for the year, so I can update those numbers to actual. We also talk all spring long about staffing changes. Now, we don't have next year's staffing finalized in May, but we have a better idea. We know what enrollment looks like. There's so much more information in May than what we have in February. And so I didn't change anything because it's just too early. And then also we have 10 months of actual data. So those department budgets that I mentioned, we can see if we're over or under in some of those areas and make adjustments accordingly in May. And so the other thing that is very impactful for many school districts in the springtime, not the case for us this time around because we have settled negotiations, but the spring is your heaviest time for negotiating. So January, February, and March, you're negotiating contracts and hopefully settling those contracts in April or in early May so that you can factor those into projections. And again, I talked about this last week. I don't see the purpose of a February revision to the forecast. So I will be coming back to you in May to all these things that are missing that I'm talking about here on this slide. I'll be able to update you on what those actual property taxes are. If we see any swings in staffing, we'll be able to give you a better update on where our finances truly are in the month of May. So we'll talk about finances 3 different times this year instead of the 2 required filings. Any questions from the board this evening? Okay, so the 5-year or the financial forecast is on your agenda for approval, and that will meet compliance with the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce.
Next, we have facilities planning and stakeholder engagement by Mr. Wesney.
So good evening. So I want to take the opportunity to really talk about design services and the process that we just went through in the district in regards to looking at requests for qualifications to find somebody who can help us with some of our design services that we've been talking about. So a little bit of history, just to kind of share on the agenda here tonight, is looking at the reasons why we put out a request for qualifications, the process leading up to really getting to tonight for the board to approve a resolution on a design firm. And more importantly, kind of share that process with everyone publicly this evening. So first of all, with the request for qualifications, we've had numerous conversations about our facilities over the last year or so. We've had several projects and events to kind of get people out to our buildings to share our master facilities or look at our facilities and determine how we move forward with our master facility planning. We've had things like our Elk Connect. And so our next Elk Connect is this week at PVN at 6 o'clock. So we're excited to have that as an opportunity to visit that building. We had an Elk Walk in the fall, which we allowed a lot of our community guests to come and visit and tour some of our buildings. We've moved our work sessions to a variety of locations throughout the district, again, in a way to kind of expose for people to see our buildings, and then also have a facilities committee that's weighed a lot in some of our thoughts and decision making on our facilities. So again, one of the reasons that we went out for a request for qualifications is it has a lot to do with the history of our buildings. And this is a slide that we've showed 100 times, maybe at this point, maybe more. But I think it's a key slide. I think it's a good slide for people to be able to recognize quickly. You can see the age of our facilities. Magzik, I now believe, is 102 years old. And then you can kind of see the flat line in the middle. And then PBS is the youngest building in our district. So the reason for the RFQ was to go back and to seek help in a facility planning atmosphere, if you will, to reach out to the community, to find a design firm that would help us to reach our stakeholders, to have conversations with our stakeholders within our community, and come up with a concept or design on how we move forward. So that process took place in January, starting in January, where a legal posting was put out for professional design services with really two major plans or two parts of that plan. One was facility planning, developing the criteria for the project, but more importantly, look at how we can engage our stakeholders in different types of meetings, public meetings, to gather information to determine what the district needs are from a facility standpoint and how we move forward with a recommendation to the community on design or potential upgrade to our facilities. And looking at our facilities and the age of our facilities, I think it's easy to say we're maybe long overdue in coming up with a process for a master facility plan. The second part was the design and construction, which would actually come later on in the process once something would be approved. The second part of that would really be looking at the architect engineer for the specific plans, concepts of what that project might look like. So we had several firms to respond to the request for qualifications, 7 total. We put together a committee, a local committee here, Mr. Trello, Mrs. Calpe from the curriculum office, as well as Mr. Kogel, Mr. Dom, and Rob Engel, part of our business and facilities group. And also had Mrs. Crippen and Mrs. Sparks, also part of the process. We had the opportunity to interview 4 firms. We narrowed those 4 down to we felt like the top 4. As we went through that process prior to the work session last week, we wanted to bring 2 of those firms back in. So if you were at the work session last week, you had an opportunity to meet and hear SHP and Levin Porter to provide presentations. About 30 minutes each in their presentation with an opportunity to ask questions. It was a great opportunity, I think, for us to kind of see what that community engagement might look like. So my recommendation was going to be to honor SHP and their work. But I'm gonna get into the more specifics about that. But it's actually in the RFQ or in the resolution tonight is to rank the top 3, bring the top 3 firms back. And it gives the superintendent the opportunity to then start working on the contract towards working with SHP. I had the opportunity this week to communicate tonight's recommendation to both firms. Obviously, SHP was excited to hear that they were going to be recommended on the resolution tonight. We've done a lot of work in the past with Levin and Porter, so obviously a little more difficult conversation, but I think a great conversation because they are still interested in supporting the district, working with the district, and want to find a way to help us still try to achieve our goals as we move forward. So as I mentioned tonight, there's a recommendation that was in the full packet to list the top 3 firms, and those are the top 3 firms there. I know we didn't bring Fenning and Howie back. I think if we get to the point if we're looking at our third choice, it's probably going to be another conversation with the board. But the second part of that resolution was allowing the superintendent to start engaging SHP in the contract negotiations and what that would look like, and engaging our stakeholders and coming up with a plan for the district as we move forward. So again, it's on the agenda tonight for you to approve. I want to take a few minutes to kind of share. It's been kind of a long process since January. I think it's been a very good, very thorough process. A lot of you have participated in that process. I just want to say thank you for that. But I'm excited moving forward with SHP as our design firm, to looking at our facility planning, specifically looking at stakeholder engagement and engaging our community in our next steps with our facilities. So with that being said, any questions from the board? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lesney. Now we have Ms. Furby for the special education update.
Good evening. Megan is going to try to keep me to 5 minutes. So if you see her waving her arms, I told her to give me a cue. I put in front of you two different documents. One is the slide presentation, and then the other, not very thick because I didn't make it too terribly thick. This is what the special education profile is. So I wanted for you to be able to see what it looks like, to give you a reference to some of what I'm talking about. So the special education profile, what is it? Essentially, it is how Centerville City Schools is graded in terms of our special education, not just services, but how we follow IDEA. So where the district receives a report card in the summer, typically in the summer, we don't receive ours until December. It always comes out in a couple different phases, but there are indicators that we are measured on, and there's the 6 big questions. I have them there. Some of it is about academic achievement, but in the first release, which is what happens in December, it doesn't tell us anything about academic achievement. So it's a challenge when we want to improve our students' achievements, because that's what special education is all about, is closing that gap. But the action that we have to do has nothing to do with student achievement. So it's a little frustrating in all the work that we try to do. Essentially, nothing in special education, we can just call it what it is. We have to have like letters behind everything. So I will probably say SPP, which is just what we in the special education world call this. So as I mentioned, it's released in 2 phases. Mid-December release is all about indicators that have action for the district. So these are things that require us to go through a specific process. When the release comes out, the second release in the spring, that one is where we see our student achievement, but there's no action tied to any of that information, very similar to the district's report card. So these are the 6 areas that it looks at. And I will tell you that I am thrilled with this SPP. I was so excited when it was released and I opened it up, and what you're looking for is on this bigger one, you're looking for green. And even yellow. I even take yellow. Red, we want to stay away from. And when it's all collapsed and you don't have the collapsed version, you just scroll through it really quick. And I think I went running through the board office. I was so excited. So the school year, very similar to the district profile, it's pulled from the previous school year, except for graduation. It is pulled from 2 school years ago. And I have some slides in here that will show. So this is what it looks like. So it's in 6 different questions, but within each question, there are different items that it looks at. And that is so far away that I cannot tell you what it says. So the first one is early childhood. And all this one is it looks at, did we transition kids from Help Me Grow, so birth to age 3, into preschool age services at age 3? Did we accomplish that? We did. We meet that indicator almost every time. The second thing that you see there with all 3 of the green is the participation rate of students taking the alternate assessment. We have to stay below 1% participation, and we are below that and have been for several years. The next indicator is discipline. So it looks at how are we disciplining specifically students with disabilities? Are we suspending and expelling students with disabilities more than any other population of students? The blue means it's not calculated, which means we didn't have enough students that were disciplined to even count as part of the indicator, which is a really great thing. The next one is the red. It is our one red area, and it's graduation. Graduation is a little bit more complicated because it's not just did students graduate or did they drop out. And it's really complicated for people outside of special education to understand this. So a student that does not have an IEP, they either graduate or they drop out. In special education, they either graduate with a regular diploma like their peers, they drop out, or they receive a certificate. So by law, IDEA, students are allowed to stay in public school until they turn 22. So any student that defers their diploma after their 4 years in high school gets a certificate. They still get a diploma from Centerville schools, but in the eyes of the state, they receive a certificate of completion. Those students, so even though this is what IDA says, those students count against a district because of that. Kids that also receive a certificate and are not seen as graduates with a regular diploma are students that an IEP team has exempted them from the consequences of not passing the end of course exams. So we had a handful of students that were calculated in this that are the reason why we didn't meet this indicator. We had in this group of students, we had only two that dropped out. One of those two students was a withdrawal that we never received a records request from another district. So that student counts against us. And then the other one was truly a dropout. So we're working on that, and I'll explain that timeline next. The other two are secondary transition, is that the last one on that page, and that is, it's just a compliance piece with it built in with an IEP. These next couple, the family survey, we didn't have to do it for last school year. Child find is, again, it's compliance issue that we have identified and gone through the evaluation process within the timeline that is determined in IDEA. So it's just really an EMIS reporting. Did we meet all the deadlines or the timelines? And we did. The bottom one is the one that we are celebrating the most. So even though it's yellow, we'll take it. So this is the bulk of the SPP is disproportionality. And this whole section, there's two essential questions, but it is about, are we disproportionately identifying, are we disproportionately disciplining students within our subgroups more than any other student subgroup? So for several years, we have not met this indicator. This is the biggest one to celebrate, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. So I wanted to give you an idea of what the trend results look like. So this is indicator 1. This is graduation. So you can see what year the SPP is and then which graduation year. And we are, if you look at our result in the red, so the state sets a target. So that's where you see that 60%, 62, 64. Not quite sure why they went to 66.61 last year. And then the students that graduated with a regular diploma and the number of students that exited. So in special education, it's just not the students that graduate after their 4 years, but in this number, it is all of the students that, so for this year, if we look at the 23-24 graduating class, there were 68 students that left special education because they either aged out or dropped out or received their diploma. The promising thing here is that we keep getting better. I'm not sure what happened in the 21-22 school year, why that graduation rate was so much higher than any other year. But this to me is promising. There's a lot of work going on at the high school. It has happened way before I got here, and we continue to problem solve how we can fix this. We have some ideas, but it's hard because IDEA says kids can stay, but then we get dinged in this indicator because we allow them to stay or we exempt them. Bottom line, we are going to do what's best for kids, regardless of what this indicator tells us. So, like I said, first time I felt like I needed a whole slide to say how great this is. The first time, so disproportionality has only been around since the 2021 SPP. And this is the first time that we have met the indicator, it's amazing news. And it goes to show the amount of work that everybody in this district is doing. And it's not just special education. So I gave you trend data. So the indicator that we have not met is the disproportionate identification of our Black students with specific learning disabilities. So I gave you the trend data and what it looks at, and there is a whole calculation that I will not explain and how we get to this and how they get to what the risk ratio is and the target. So if you look at the 25-26 SPP, we are, for the first time, our risk ratio has gone down enough. And there is a whole calculation that if they give you that target line, the risk ratio of 2.5, and if the district decreases, even though we might not meet it, but we actually did, and we continue to drop by 0.25 risk ratio each year for 3 consecutive years, then we've met that indicator. But we did even better this year, and we're actually under the target. So it's really great. Some of the things that I thought were happening are not happening. I thought we were just going to be trading out disability categories. I thought we were lessening our specific learning disability and we were increasing our other health impaired. And it actually is not the case. Like once I started to dig in the data, which is really surprising, but it has to do with our population numbers changing across the district. So this is really good. We have no action with this. We just have to kind of keep watch on this. And then what I did here was I went through every indicator from the past 6 years, 7 years, 6 years, I think I have up there. And just to show you like the progress that we've made and the consistent progress that we have had. Last year, the SPP was not really accurate. It was, but it wasn't. For the child find indicator 11, you'll see that it's red that we didn't meet it. This was because we missed 2 timelines for middle school. However, we were short a school psychologist. And so it was nothing that we could do to improve. We just didn't have the school psychology staff that we needed. We were short a person. So it's really promising. We are going in the right direction in terms of our special education services and the structures and the supports that we have in place. So I am beyond thrilled with where we're headed. So just the timeline, there are actions that are part of the SPP. And so I put them here for you. We have to submit policies and procedures. That's already been done. It's already been approved by the state. The next step is what's called an indicator analysis, where there's a document that we have to fill out. And essentially it's trying to get to the root cause as to why we didn't meet our graduation indicator. We actually are meeting tomorrow. We have a team that is all of the high school administrators, special education coordinator, Adam. We've got, I think, 4 or 5 intervention specialists that will be on it. And so we're sitting down, we're looking at the data, and we're coming up with what are we going to focus our improvement plan on. Once we do that tomorrow, we'll develop an improvement plan. And those both need to be submitted to the state by April 3rd. I would have had this done already, but we have to wait for our SST consultant to participate, and her calendar was booked until tomorrow. So we're going to get it done tomorrow. And then the just odd thing about all of this, like that last step is called systemic improvement. So I have to have the improvement plan in April. We have a list of activities that we have to do, and I have to submit that evidence by September 11th. So to me, it's not a whole, like we're not doing systemic improvement on that improvement plan necessarily, but it's the ideas behind what it is that we're going to do. I think we've got some really good ideas of what we're going to do to target some of this, but just so you have an idea of the timeline. So that is it. Megan, I know I went way longer than 5 minutes. I apologize. If just to kind of show you, I popped open in this document, some of the indicator information so that you can see in this document where like the more the data is, so you can just kind of get an idea. And I am happy if any of you would like to know more about this. If you just want to reach out, we could schedule a time and I can go through this and explain all this to you, because it's a lot. And if you don't live in my world, I'm sure it doesn't make a whole ton of sense.
But do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, just real quick. I guess we're talking about graduation rate with the certificate versus the diploma. I mean, you really can't change. I mean, the goal isn't necessarily to change that, right? The goal isn't to kick kids out at 18 with a. So when you talk about trying to develop a plan around that, does that?
Sure. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to look at the state sends, when they send this, I get a list of the students that exited special education services that count in this indicator. And the very first thing I noticed was disability categories. So we would typically see our kids with multiple disabilities. They would be the students that I would expect to see received a certificate. But what I saw was students with specific learning disability and other health impaired. Those are kids that should be graduating with a regular diploma. And when I went and I researched, there were 8 or 9 students. Every one of those was through an exemption in the IEP because those students couldn't pass the end of course exams. So we already do a lot at the high school to target an intervention and give instruction to students that are struggling, but we've got to start to maybe target those kids a little bit earlier. So we're going to try to come up with an improvement plan that addresses those, because the other students, the dropouts, we had 2, and we don't typically have a high number of dropout students, but our students that are taking the alternate assessment, which are multiple disabilities kids, we can't do anything about that. It is just that conflicting law and practice. So we're going to target some of those other students that can pass and should be passing those end of course exams. Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
You answered part of the question. Right? If you look at the indicator 1, I wanted to know what you implemented to increase or decrease these numbers. So I understand that's one specific learning disability, the OHI kids. I'm just going.
So I think those are conversations that we're going to have tomorrow. We do a lot, and Adam has done a lot, and Shannon, with building data dashboards that we look at very different factors of students. We look at absenteeism rates. We look at transient. We look at how they're progressing with grades, like are there failures, those types of things. And it's just maybe pulling out those students with disabilities and looking at maybe earlier when we're seeing some of those. Yeah. Yeah, Adam, you want to? Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. And I think just tonight, the grant to the high school, those were 2 of our multiple disabilities teachers. We went last year in the spring to Butler Tech, and they have a program called Project Life. And one of the programs was about these micro businesses that the kids were running, and that's where Brittany got the idea for that grant. And I used to do Stampin' Up! And scrapbooking. So in the beginning of the year, I was tired of moving it from house to house. So I donated all of that, all my stamps, all my scrapbooking stuff. So they've started making greeting cards. So we're looking at those other opportunities for our kids with our more cognitive disabilities
to learn job skills and independent living skills, because it's not just about making soap, but it's about so much more for our kids. Okay. Thank you.
The next month, whatever came out of tomorrow's meeting, you keep saying tomorrow's meeting. So can you do a follow up? Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Now we're on to treasurer's recommendation. Consider approving the January 2026 financial statements, the monthly general fund rolling report, monthly cash reconciliation, monthly fund activity report, the then and now purchase orders approved by administration, certified by the treasurer, and supported by the board resolution, totaling $45,808.52. So moved. Can I have a roll, please, Ms. Hub?
Kathy Crippen?
Yeah.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving the minutes of the following Board of Education meetings: February 2nd, 2026, the regular meeting, and February 17th, 2026, work session. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Ms. Sauber, can I have the roll, please?
Kathy Crippen?
Yeah.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving resolution authorizing the filing of original complaints against the tax valuation pursuant to revised code 5715.9 for the following properties.
Did O first, or should I just say it?
Doesn't matter. Okay. O670381500074. Parcel number O685140700003, and parcel O680011200001. Can I have a motion, please? So moved. Ms. Sauber, can I have the roll call, please?
Sorry. I know we discussed this in the work session, but you want to maybe just explain it quick?
Sure. These are commercial properties in the community that have sold for over their auditor appraised value. And so it is an action requesting that the Board of Revision take a look at those sales and apply the appropriate tax value to those properties. So we never do this on residential properties. This is only for commercial properties in the district.
And we're not necessarily going after more total revenue. It's simply just making sure people pay their fair share.
Their fair share.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. You ready for the roll call?
Yes, please.
Kathy Crippen?
Yeah.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving a revision to the financial forecast and assumptions for fiscal year 2026 through fiscal year 2029 for submission to the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. Can I have a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
Can I have a roll, please?
Kathy Crippen?
Yeah.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes. And I can take all these together. Perfect. Okay. Superintendent's recommendation, Schedule A. The superintendent recommends accepting resignations as listed on Schedule A. Schedule B. The superintendent recommends the change of employment status or change of contract status for the certificate personnel listed on Schedule B for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given. Schedule C, the superintendent recommends the employment or change of employment status for the support staff personnel listed in Schedule C for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given. Schedule D and D1, the superintendent recommends the employment of the personnel listed on Schedules D and D1 for supplemental contracts or extra duty assignments. And Schedule E, the superintendent recommends granting of leaves of absence for the personnel listed on Schedule E for the reasons and on the dates given. Could I have a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
Can I have the roll, please?
Kathy Crippen?
Yeah.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving changes to the board policy 5136 personal communication devices in the CHS handbook as previously discussed. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Okay, we're all good to go forward after. Okay. May I have the roll, please?
Kathy Crippen?
Yeah.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider authorizing continued membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association for the 2027 school year. Can I have a motion, please? Second?
May I have just a second to, so in the work session, I just wanted to follow up. I know there were some questions between men's and women's sports, and so that is separate. We have 26 total teams. So in the OHSA membership is $50 per team. So it's a cost of $1,300 for the district for the 26 teams to compete with OHSAA.
Thank you.
That's covered by the athletic department
Yes.
budget, correct?
Yes.
Sorry. Can I have a roll, please?
Kathy Crippen? Yeah. Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving a resolution ranking the top 3 firms that responded to the district's request for the qualification of professional design services for the master planning and programming of the district's facilities. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
May. Any comments? No, we're good. Okay. Any roll call, please?
Kathy Crippen? Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving a farm lease between the Centerville City Schools and Lucas Brothers Farms for Social Row and Franklin Street properties. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Anything? Okay. Can I have the roll, please?
Kathy Crippen? Yeah. Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Any final comments regarding past or old business from the Board of Education? I just have quick. We finished our A to Z review. Mr. Resney has that. If you could come up and look at it and sign, I need everyone's signature if you don't mind. So that's all I have.
I just wanted to thank both organizations again. I do sit on the board of trustees for CEO, but I love this night when we come and we honor all of our teachers who have done such a great job going beyond the regular classroom and getting the grants and working for the students, and then again for the EP&D fund. All of the good that they're doing for our community. It's great.
What's really neat is that we see the Centerville Education Foundation give the money tonight, but then in May we actually get to see what they did with it and see the end result. So that's my favorite part. So
Board reps, you guys are doing an outstanding job. Sounds like you're a leadership among the area, and you're extremely well spoken and very knowledgeable about what you're doing, and you're all very impressive. So thank you for stepping up to this role and doing a great job. Thank you.
Mr. Peters, you got anything? Okay. All right. Can I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Second.
Can I have the roll call, please?
Kathy Crippen?
Yeah.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Thank you. Everyone have a great month.